Alright guys, so about a month ago I installed the Jebao DCP 10,000 on this tank, and I must say it's been a quiet pump. It's worked well up until yesterday morning. Got up and checked the tank and realized the pump was off. Sometime in the middle of the night the pump decided it wanted to go kaput. Scrambled to go ahead and get it up and running here, and finding that on the control port, which let me go ahead and show you what I got going on here. So remember that little control box I was telling you guys about? I was going to go ahead and probably mount it up. I did mount it up in the back. Yeah, move this out of the way so you can see it. I did mount it up, get it in here, but here's the problem. Watch this. Now if I move this, you can see it has a short. Literally, I don't know if I can catch this on camera, but look, this is not good. Not good at all. So you can see I plugged it back in and nothing. I have to kind of baby the wire for it to come on, and it may come on, it may come off, and may do whatever it wants to do. So that's not good. That's not good. After I took the plug out, a little piece of metal from the top of the port, let's take this out because this thing's coming out of here, from the top of the port here, came off. Now that metal's to push on the pin to keep connection. Well, no. So unfortunately, don't need a fire hazard in the house, especially if I'm out and away on vacation or something. Yeah, not good at all. So what's happening here is this pump is definitely coming out and going back. I'm not going to deal with it anymore. And what is getting installed is the new COR 20. So So I got everything installed and buttoned up and got the controller mounted. See, let me go ahead and get this turned back on. Now, as far as the installation goes, it can be set up as standalone, or you can actually run it off of the Apex. I would say to follow the provided installation guide for that. Gets to a point here where pretty much says, are you using an Apex, yes or no? And if you are, you want to flip over and follow the steps there. But for the most part, the installation was straightforward. Flip it over, and once I can get this thing to focus here, and you'll follow if you're going to do a standalone setup. And for more information, check their help guide. I'm going to skip over to the point of getting the Apex set up with the unit. So I did already hook the Aquabus cable, which was that USB plug that you guys saw. Now I'm going to go ahead and get on to my Apex Fusion and get this installation completed. Look. Apex lit up. Alright, so using my child-proof Apex tablet here. Looks like there's a couple new tiles. And we got voltage readout for the Apex. Right now I'll put it here. Lock that back down. This gives temp, RPM, and the wattage of the core. Low voltage, over voltage, gives a good readout of everything that's going on with the pump. So we're going to go ahead and get this set up. So we'll go to tasks, add core. So probably right now that pump is not on. So let's go back to the home. Turn that back on. And looks like it's lit up and running. Okay. And without doing any of the setup right now, I'm getting a readout. So as you can see, it went from an alert to okay. So that would be indicating the pump is okay. Pulling 48 watts. let's go through that task setup here and see if we can get this calibrated. Now this setting here is going to just set it to where there's enough water going back in, but not a whole lot to push over the overflow itself. This is useful when you're doing the feed mode. You don't want the food to go throughout the whole filtration and stay in the tank. So I'm going to get that set. And all right, so I got everything all set up and it's up and running right now. I would say once you follow the instructions here on the installation, everything should be smooth sailing. If you're going to use it standalone, I would probably end up saying to go ahead, check online for the manual, see how to complete that setup. But using it through the Apex is primarily why I ended up getting it, and being able to control it from the Apex itself is a big plus for me, like I said before. I do know I watched another video from another reefer, which I'll probably go ahead and put the link up to his video here. He gives a good reason for why you would want to go with not necessarily the core, but a decent water pump that does have some functions and features that would work for you in it. So again, I'll put that up in the video here for you guys to click on and watch. But for the most part, the reason I chose it here, it's going to work with the Apex. It is going to give me some alerts. So the issue that I had last night, or not last night, but the day before, doesn't happen again. If the pump cuts off, I have it set up to send me an email. If it's overheating, if it's outside of the parameters that it is already set up for, it will go ahead and send me an alert on it, or make some adjustments. With that being said, as far as the setup goes for it, there was a bit of changes that I did have to make with the percentage. As far as how much is the output here, I have it set to a max speed of about 75%. You guys saw, if you click on, let's get back to the main here. If you click on the gear icon, it will, right here, it will take you into the settings for the core. So if you are going to use this on like a closed loop, you have the ability to set points, times, and things like that for it to alternate, ramp up or ramp down, things like that. Since I'm not using any of that, it did come with a lot of the settings. I ended up having to click on the gear icon here and removing those adjustment points. With the initial setup in Apex, you do have the IQ level adjustment, which you can get to from the menu in Apex and get that all squared away. One other thing is, if you make any adjustments here, it will adjust on the unit itself. So if you make any adjustments here, it will adjust on the fly. So that is a good thing. Readouts that you find, you got the 80%, it's running at 80%, it's good. And you have your watts and RPM showing up down at the bottom here. Hopefully you guys can see all of that. It's in focus. I do have it set, or I did initially when I did set it up, to have it cut off with the cut the skimmer off when it goes into feed mode. So what I found out is that once I did get it set to where I needed to, I ended up having to go back into the skimmer and readjust the percentage of it shutting off here. So that would be something I would say in your initial setup, make sure you have it running right where you need to. I know I had it set at the max and it looked like everything was good, and eventually it started to level out. And then what I did realize was that it was actually going off of this daily program that was here. So it was actually wanting to ramp down at the time and then start to ramp back up. So I had to cut all of that out and then redo the calibration one more time, which was a very simple step. Just go through and do the IQ calibration. So to go ahead and close this video out, I don't want it to be too long. I do like the pumps so far. Again, the Jebao, I've known a lot of people to use them. They are decent pumps to have. Unfortunately, I guess I got a bad unit. So that will be going back, and this will be in its place. One thing I want to point out, I have no idea why Apex did this, or why even Neptune did this at all. They do include 3/4 inch, 1 inch, and then they give you a 1 1/4 union. Don't know why. I would suggest to them to include a 1 inch union. This has no bearing or meaning to me at this point here. If it was a 1 inch, I'd probably have a little bit more flexibility with it. 1 1/4 means that then you would have to upgrade your piping. I guess it was on their part, they thought, hey, let's go and throw in a union, and they did. So not sure why they chose a 1 1/4 when most people use a 1 inch, but hopefully they take note of that and people have addressed that with them to go ahead and get a proper union placed in there. And I know there's going to be some folks saying, well, no, most plumbing has 1 1/4. If I go down to Home Depot or Lowe's, I'm going to grab a 1 inch pipe and run everything like I have been doing for 1 inch piping. This Allen wrench will come in handy whenever you do go to service it. Don't lose it. Place it with all the rest of your equipment or maintenance stuff if you have it. And this works pretty well. I do like how they thought about that as far as getting that pump taken apart whenever you do need to service it. So I found it pretty good to use when I did take it apart, as you saw there. Other than that, that is it for this video here. I'll make sure I get some updates on the tank as soon as I can. You guys stay tuned, and I will see you on the next one.